Hello, and welcome to another book haul of mine. This will most likely be the last book haul that I do until the library tour, which will obviously take place here Saturday the 22nd of May, at which time I'm not quite too sure yet, but I will let you know. Apologies if I'm whispering, it's just, it's about 5:53 in the morning and, well, no one else is awake, and I don't have any other time to do this, so. As you know, I've been recently going through my library and taking out books that have been there for many years and I just don't see myself reading, or just in horrible condition and such. And you'll see more videos about that. I have more coming out from that same unhaul. But I got rid of about maybe 200 books and donated them to my local bookshops in exchange for store credit, which was very nice. So, I got rid of about 200 and I came back. I hauled about 27 books in the whole month of April. So, these are all the books I got this month, and I suppose I'll show them to you. Well, firstly, I'll have to show you one book that was meant to be in the March book haul, but I actually forgot to show it because it was hidden in the shelves. It was rather like a chameleon and concealed itself very well. That was this one, The Buddha of Suburbia by Hanif Qureshi. It's a penguin. I do not know anything about this, but I will read it and see how it is. So that's the one March book that we have. Now we're going to jump straight away into the May books. So these are all from either charity shops, but mostly, and also a rummage sale here or there, but mostly they're from, even some from my garage, but mostly they're from bookshops. So anyway, first one here, we have The Poltergeist by William G. Rowell. This is like a book on, I don't know, paranormal encounters or something like that. Anyway, my brother actually wanted this book. He found it to be quite interesting, and so I'm holding it in my library for him. So if he wants to read it at whatever time he can. So that's that there. Next here we have A Gift of Wings by Richard Bach. I don't believe I've mentioned this before, but Richard Bach has written one of my favorite books of recent years, John Livingston Seagull, which I actually forgot to mention in my favorite books video. That video was recorded a very long time ago, and so is no longer valid, really. But I was going to mention that in there, but I forgot to. This book is along the same lines, I think, as that, and I have quite a few other Richard Bach's books. You'll see, obviously, from the tour that I have just a fair few of his books, and yeah, that's it. So there's that. Next here, this is a bit of a fascinating one. We have the Journals of Lewis and Clark. Yes, these are the actual journals of the people who went to explore the western regions of America under instruction of Thomas Jefferson. I haven't read the actual journals at all, and I find it would be very interesting to read this unedited account and, just experience what these people went through without having it filtered through academia to you, and, not knowing what you learned in schools and such, and learn for yourself just what these people had gone through. It'd be very interesting to do. So, what's that? Next here is a book by Iris Murdoch, The Black Prince. It is a penguin, so had to get it. It's a bit bleached on the spine, but that's okay. As far as I know, this book's about a writer in the publishing world, so that could be interesting. So there's that. All these books are like $1. And then last book I have in this pile, which I got at the charity shop, was The Book of Laughter and Forgetting by Milan Kundera. I was actually looking for, The Impossibility, The Unbearable Lightness of Being. That's what it is. But instead I found this, so I will give him a read one of these days. And it is a penguin. So, as you know, that goes in my library. Okay, so next we have some books I actually found in my garage whilst cleaning it out. I was actually looking for some old Palisades Muppets figures because I had recently realized that I had those at one point and wanted to see more about them. Perhaps maybe even rekindle some childhood whimsy or something or other. But I found these couple of books. We have here I Used to Know That, Stuff You Forgot from School by Carolyn Taggart, or Taggart, how do you say her name? This is just like a general reference book on, just little things that you might have learned in school but were, forgotten as time has gone on, which you're wont to do. So that'd be a nice thing to thumb through for reference. And then these next few books are all out of the Peter Rabbit series by Beatrix Potter. This is actually my favorite series to read as a child. I actually had this read to me quite a bit, so these have sentimental value to me. So the ones I have here are The Tale of Peter Rabbit, The Tale of Mrs. Tittlemaus, The Tale of Jemima Puddle Duck. The spine on this one isn't in too great a shape, but it's the book that counts. And The Tale of Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, who is a hedgehog. I was actually looking for my favorite one, which is, The Tale of Mr. Jeremy Fisher, about the frog. That used to be my favorite one, but alas, I couldn't find it, so. Anyhow, now we go to the bookshop, and I'll show you all the books I got from one trip to this particular bookshop that I gave books away to. So first here we have The Immortalist by Andrei Gide. I heard about Andrei Gide. I think he's one of the first modernists of French literature, so it could be interesting to read this. I think this is the most famous book, so where better to start than here? As you know, I do collect Neville Shute's books, And when I saw this at my local bookshop, I squealed very audibly like Dennis Nedry. And I grabbed it, and that is The Rainbow and the Rose. So, there's that. This book is actually a replacement copy here because, as you know, I unhauled this because it was just a big bulky edition, but this is a small compact penguin, and that is The Aunt Story by Patrick White. I saw this actually a number of months ago and hesitated getting it because I already had it, but it was a penguin, and I do like penguins, as you know, and when I did this unhaul, I just decided, what the heck, I may as well just get this. So I did. And then last book I got this go round at that bookshop was a book by Louisa May Alcott, who, as you know, wrote Little Women, a book that I am yet to read, but I was looking for a good Gothic fiction, and I did an internet search online, and this seemed to come up. That is A Long and Fatal Love Chase. This book is interesting in its history because it was printed in serial form in 1885, or 1866, pardon me, but wasn't published until the 90s of the last century. So, this would be interesting to read, most certainly. Alright, so, this is a combination of books from a charity shop, that same bookshop, and a rummage sale. This next few. We have here a book I was looking at for about a year and didn't really bother to get it, but it was a penguin, so I figured why not. It was only around 25 cents, so I figured I'll get it. We have Passing by Nella Larson. Don't know anything about this, but it's a penguin, so I'm willing to risk it for only 25 cents. Next here, we have two books that I got from that same bookshop. And one of these is a replacement copy. You'll see from the unhaul that I unhauled this book, but actually I didn't unhaul it. I still have it with me. I think I'll just carry it around, this spare copy, if I ever have a rucksack or something with me to read when I'm bored. But this is a replacement copy of Fifth Business by Robertson Davies. And obviously, as you know, this is one of my favorites, and this is in much better shape, even though this cover is a bit, it needs some work, but I could very well glue that into place. But this is in much better shape than the previous copy I had, so this is going in my library. Next is another penguin book. This is a book by one of probably my favorite contemporary writer, and that is The Life and Times of Michael Kay by J.M. Coetzee. As you know, I read Waiting for the Barbarians, and I absolutely loved it. And then afterwards I've read Disgraced, and pretty much praised that equally. I have Elizabeth Costello, but have not read that. But now I have this, and we'll do good to read it here sometime soon. Alright, now this is the one book from the rummage sale that I did get. From a very interesting man. Evidently, he had a couple copies of The Elements of Style by William Strunk Jr. and E.B. White. A pretty good book on writing. I didn't get any of those because I already have it, but I did get this book, and that is The Book of God and Man by Robert Gordos. This book is actually a study on the book of Job in the Bible, which is one of the more interesting, not more interesting, they're all interesting, one of the most interesting books in the Bible, I think. Now, this book I got for around 50 cents, and you will see there is some annotation in here. That is perfectly okay. Normally I'd be opposed to this, but it is a textbook, pretty much. And I'll probably read this like one time and then get rid of it. So there was one part in here that was kind of interesting though. It says there, wow. So yeah, anyhow, that's that. And then this last pile of books. Well, actually, I got 4 here. Not 5, but I'll show the 5th one last. From my local bookshop in town. And then another 4 from Bargain Book World, I must say. I donated books to there, too, for store credit. And the only problem with that is, at my bookshop, it's $2 per book that you hand in, and that's how much store credit you have. And I handed in about, 100 books there, so I have a stupid amount of store credit. But at Bargain Book World, it's only 20 cents per book. And so, as you can see, the sun is rising, or it is turning daylight in back of me, but so do excuse that. And so you only get sorry about that, memory issues, but you only get $10 of the store credit, and you pretty much use it up when you buy one set of books, 1 or 2 sets of books. But at my local bookshop, you get 50% off your purchase, but you still have to spend money. At Bargain Book World, you don't have to spend any money on books. You just use the credit. So, these are the books I got from my local bookshop. So, first one here is The Greek Myths, Volume 1 by Robert Graves. I had Volume 2 forever, and did not have Volume 1, and I was looking for it, and now I have it. So, there you go. Next here is another book I was looking for, but did not have on my list. But when I saw this, I grabbed it immediately. That is The Never-Ending Story by Michael Ende, or End, however you say his name. Look how beautiful that cover is. Obviously, I've seen the classic film from the 80s a number of times, and have not read the book. But apparently, the author of this book did not think too well of the film. So, we'll see how this goes. Next here is one of the classic Spanish language texts of the 20th century. That is Pedro Perama by Juan Rolfe. This is an interesting book because, as you can see, it was someone's at one time, and in the back there's writing in it. So I assumed that this would be annotated. I looked through it, but there are no annotations in here. The only thing that's in here is numbering of, not even chapters, but just separations in the text, which is interesting. So the text itself is clean. It's just that they numbered the text separations as chapters, so that's interesting. I'll give this a read soon, and sounds very intriguing. So. And then next we have a Hesperus edition. Whenever I see Hesperus editions anywhere in a bookshop or charity shop, whatever, I just buy them up because they publish pretty uncommon titles of classic literature, and whatever they publish is of quality. And so I got this one. This here is Carmen by Prosper Mérimée. This is actually the inspiration behind the very famous Bizet opera, Carmen. And there's him in there. So this is actually a little novel, so that might be interesting to read. So here, there. Okay, now here's all the books I got from Bargain Book World. Only like 4. So I'll show them to you. First here we have Hadrian VII by Frederick Rolfe, not James Rolfe, but Frederick Rolfe. I'd never heard of this book, but the cover struck me. As you can see, it's a very frightened cardinal there. This is a book I'll probably read and then quickly get rid of, because it has to do with the Catholic Church. As you'll see from this new series I'm going to be doing, I'm still editing the installments of that, but the introduction for that series will be out on Wednesday. But as you'll see from the series, you will know why I can't keep books like this. And I'll probably, as I said, read this once and then quickly get rid of it. So there we go. Next here we have a Penguin book. Obviously Penguin automatically earns a place in my library, and so we have A Singular Man by J.P. Donlevy. He wrote The Ginger Man, which is his most famous, but I bought this because it was a Penguin. They had The Ginger Man there, but I didn't buy it. Interesting. When it comes in a Penguin edition, I'm pretty sure they make a Penguin, or they printed a Penguin edition of this. Yeah, they did. So if I see a Penguin edition of The Ginger Man, then I will get it. Next here we have a book by Susan Howich, who is a novelist that writes a lot about the Anglican Church, which would be interesting to read about. And we have her novel Scandalous Risks. There she is on the back. I heard about her through Johnny Keane, a booktuber on here, and figured I may as well give her a try. It was only $1. And most of those books are only $1. The last book I got at Bargain Book World, I heard about this book. The title was familiar. The cover was striking, and it's a penguin. So we have The White Hotel by D.M. Thomas. Don't know anything about it, so we'll give it a read. And then the last book, last but most certainly not least. This is another book I got from my local bookshop, but I saved this for last because this book actually changed my life. And I will make a whole separate video about this book and why it is that it is so great and revelatory. But the book I got was The Private Memoirs and Confessions of a Justified Sinner by James Hogg. I will say no more about this book. I will save this for its own video. But if you have not already read this book, I encourage you to read it. It's pretty hard to come by, but if you do, grab it and read it. That's all I'm saying. Alright, that was a book haul for all the books I acquired in the month of April and one in March that I forgot to show. I hope you enjoyed and got an idea as to, as I said, my literary tastes, and you will be seeing these in my library. So, look forward to that. And, as I said, I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you soon. Cheers.